Good afternoon and welcome to Lunchtime News on TV1. For the News First team, I'm Dikmini De Silva. Let's start off with a look at the headlines.
Human resources is the primary catalyst for propelling the country towards progress, says the President. Former heads of local government bodies of the SLPP meet party leaders. Do politicians have a plan to build the country? The UNP questions.
ඒ අර්බුදයට සිදුවෙන්න කලින් රනිල් වික්‍රමසිංහ මැතිතුමා විටින් විටම අනතුරු ඇඟෙව්වා එවකට හිටපු රජයට. ඒත් ඒ උපදෙස් නොසලකා හැරියා.
Sri Lankan rupee depreciates again. A stock of cigarettes worth 15 billion rupees seized by customs destroyed. A 12-year-old student dies after being knocked down by a bus in Polgahavela.
Sri Lankan President Ranil Wickremesinghe said that human resource is the primary catalyst for propelling the country towards progress. He was speaking at the first discussion of the expert committee appointed to support the Ministerial Committee for the National Education Policy Framework.
During the discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat yesterday, the President acknowledged the significance of aligning the country's human resources, enhancing the education system, and transforming the nation into a regional educational hub. Drawing inspiration from the progress achieved by developed nations, the President stressed the importance of establishing a robust education system and cultivating a skilled workforce to accomplish the objectives of becoming a developed country by 2048. President Ranil Wickremesinghe emphasized the need for fixed examination periods and announced his intention to legally establish a specific month for the GCE advanced level examination, noting that any changes to the fixed schedule would require submission to Parliament for approval, except in cases of extreme emergencies such as pandemics or tsunami. The President also highlighted the preparation of corresponding laws.
A comprehensive long-term economic philosophy should precede discussions on education. There is independence of education and economic growth, and we cannot follow two paths. We need to follow the same path. The aim is to overcome short-term debt and achieve a sustained economic growth rate of 8 to 9% within 5 years, maintained for at least a decade. That is the only way for us to develop. We need to restructure the economy. The long-term plans involve several sectors. Our main resource is the human resource. We have to decide how we will get there. The convergence of education, economic framework and climate change are critical. We can only go forward by being competitive. Our aim is to be a highly competitive social market economy. Secondly, a citizen's responsibility is to be law-abiding and know your rights. These two should be consistent in education from the start to the end.
The Ceylon Teachers Union said that students need to be given advance notice about the examinations that will take place in 2023.
මේ අවුරුද්දේ පැවැත්වපු විභාග ගත්තොත්
The ordinary level examination of 2022 took place in 2023. The issue is, when will the A-level exam and the next O-level take place? The Department of Examinations has yet to announce the examination timetable. Students need at least 3 months to prepare for the examination. We understand that the students are severely inconvenienced by this government's conduct, and we demand for the examination timetable to be announced.
මාස 3-4කට කලින්වත් කාලනාමුව කියන්න ඕනේ දැන් ළමයි මොකද දැනටමත් පීඩාවකට පත් වෙලා ඉන්න ළමයි ආණ්ඩුවට වගේ වගක් නැහැ මේවා සම්බන්ධයෙන් ඒක නිසා අපි ඉල්ලීමක් කරනවා විභාග පවත්වන කාලනාමුව වාම ප්‍රකාශයටපත් කරන්න කියලා මොකද.
In more local news, the Sri Lankan rupee, which was strengthening against the US dollar, is depreciating once again. The Bank of Ceylon selling rate on Thursday was 335 rupees and 60 cents. The buying rate was 315 rupees. In other local news, the Central Colombo electoral meeting of the United National Party was held at the party headquarters, Sirikotha.
UNP leaders and supporters attended the Central Colombo electoral meeting held yesterday.
රුපියල තවත් ශක්තිමත් වෙලා තියෙනවා.
The rupee has further strengthened and the value of the dollar has dropped. Today people can afford meals despite the economic issues in the country. Last year the people were in queues. Last Poson Poya Day the people were in queues for Dansal. Some tried to pull his leg. The opposition is trying to bring him down and elect one of their own as the next presidential election. None of the politicians have a plan to take the country forward. Where will the country go if it is handed to such people? We have to face a presidential election next year and we have to ensure Ranil Wickremesinghe emerges victorious. When they can afford meals now, they remember patriotism. But when this country is in trouble, there is no one and everyone was avoiding it. This is what happened every time the country was uplifted. The same happened in 2004 when we took over the country in 2001 and in 2015. Now they are trying again after we took over the country in 2022. They are calling upon the chief prelates and making various statements to media. Those who left us are now joining us again. People of other parties are also supporting the president's plan and vision. People who were against us are also speaking in a favorable manner. The electricity tariffs and prices of goods will decrease in a few months and living conditions will improve. This is only because the president managed all administrative work alone, including the economy, because of his program. Ranil Wickremesinghe issued several warnings beforehand about the crisis to the then government. They disregarded the advice and the country collapsed within a year. If he didn't take over the country, we can't even imagine where we will be today. There are some issues they haven't been resolved completely. People are not living with ease. Some new laws are required. A change in the way we work is required. Some difficult decisions will have to be made politically.
Former local government heads of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna will meet with the leaders of the SLPP on Thursday. The meeting will be chaired by national organizer of the SLPP, Basil Rajapaksa, and will be held at the party office in Battaramulla.
Former mayors, former deputy mayors and former chairperson of local government institutions representing the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna have been summoned for the meeting with the SLPP leadership. A spokesperson for the SLPP said that multiple issues will be discussed at the meeting, including decisions that need to be taken as a political party in the future.
The discussion was on uplifting the party. We suffered certain setbacks during the period of the Argalia. That was not the fault of the party, but the fault of a few. All the former legislators were summoned and their views and suggestions were obtained to further strengthen the party. The SLPP is still favoured by the people. Basil Rajapaksa listened to all the proposals that were put forward. He said the practical proposals will be implemented and the party will be strengthened further in the future to face any challenge.
සියලුම මන්ත්‍රීවරුන්ගේ යෝජනාවලට ඉතාම හොඳින් හුම්කන් දුන්නා. හුම්කන් දීලා එතුමා අවශ්‍ය වේ යෝජනා වලින් අපිට කරන්න පුළුවන් දේවල් අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරලා ඉදිරියේදී තවත් පක්ෂය ශක්තිමත් කරගෙන ඉන්න. එතකොට ඕනම අභියෝගයකට එතකොට අපිට මුහුණ දෙන්න පුළුවන්.
අන්දානගත වීමක් සිදු වෙලා තියෙනවා නේද ඊයේ දිනේදී රනිල් කුමිසම මහතාත් එක්ක ඒකට එකතුතාවය පළ කරාද මන්ත්‍රීවරු?
නෑ ඒ ගැන නම් කතා කරේ නෑ. නමුත් සාමාන්‍යයෙන් අපි
It wasn't discussed, but we appointed Ranil Wickremesinghe so that there was no discussion on forming an alliance. But we must carry out the people's mandate. If the public mandate was given for something, we should implement it. The public mandate by the 6.9 million people and the two-thirds majority is being implemented today.
යම් කිසි දේවල් වලට ඒ ජනම තමයි බොහෝ දුරට අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න ඕන. මොකද අද තියෙන්නේ ඒ 69 ලක්ෂයේ සහ 3.2 ජනතාව දුන්න බලය දුන්න ජනවරම. ඒක තමයි අපි ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්නේ.
අද නෑ දුරටක් ඇතිලා නේද තියෙන්නේ?
නෑ එහෙම කිසි දෙයක් නෑ.
එහෙම කතාවක් යනවා. ඒක එහෙම සත්‍යතාවයක් නැද්ද?
එහෙම කිසි දෙයක් නෑ.
A massive consignment of cigarettes seized by Sri Lanka Customs in 2021 was destroyed in Muthurajawala on Thursday. State Minister of Finance Ranjit Siambalapitiya was also present to observe the process.
නීති විරෝධී ලෙස ලංකාවට ගෙන ආපු
200 million cigarettes that were imported to the country illegally in 21 cargo containers valued at 15 billion rupees were destroyed. These cigarettes cannot be sold. There is no accountability for the quality of these products. If custom did not seize them, we would have lost 13 billion rupees in revenue to the state. This is the largest haul of cigarettes destroyed in a single instance by Sri Lanka Customs in its history.
සිගරට්ස් වගේ තමයි අද විනාශ කරන්නේ. ඒ නිසා මේක රාජ්‍ය ආදායම පැත්තෙන් බලපුවාම තාමත්ම වැදගත්. රේගු ඉතිහාසයේත් තාමත් වැදගත්. ඔවුන්ගේ විශාලතම සිගරට් ස්ටොක් එක අල්ලාගත් විනාශ කරන අවස්ථාව තමයි රේගු ඉතිහාසයේ.
1,320 litres of ethanol, which was being transported illegally, was found during a raid last evening, based on information received by the Egodoyana police in Moratuwa. Police said the relevant stock of ethanol was being transported from Panadura to Kolpiti in a lorry. The driver of the lorry was arrested and will be produced before the Moratuwa Magistrates Court today. Police said the ethanol was brought to Sri Lanka under the guise of producing perfumes. The latest audit report has revealed that the progress in examining complaints by the National Police Commission has dropped by 27% compared to previous years. The report highlighted that in 2020 and before, the National Police Commission recorded over 70% progress when examining the complaints filed by members of the public.
The National Audit Office released its observations with regard to the 2022 annual report produced by the National Audit Office. According to the report, most of the complaints filed in 2022 with the National Police Commission relate to the inefficiency of the Sri Lanka police officers' bias and abuse of power. The National Audit Office said most of these complaints were from the western, northwestern and southern provinces.
A 12-year-old student has died after being knocked down by a bus in Hondalla, Polgahawela this morning.
Bigum Vihangasena Ratna, who was studying in the 7th grade at the Ratmalgoda College in Polgahawela, died in the accident. He was knocked down by a Sri Lanka Transport Board bus travelling from Colombo to Polonnaruwa while he was on his way to school. Bigum was the only child in the family residing in Hondalla. The driver of the bus was arrested and will be produced to the Polgahawela Magistrates Court today. A woman and a child sustained injuries in an accident in Berola last afternoon. News First correspondent said they were knocked down by a three-wheeler. The driver of the three-wheeler was arrested in connection with the accident and is scheduled to appear at the Kaluthura Magistrates Court today.
The human-elephant conflict in Sri Lanka is an issue that has gone unresolved, costing the lives of humans and elephants alike. On Wednesday night, an elderly man was killed in a wild elephant attack.
A 72-year-old father of 3 was killed by a wild elephant on Wednesday night in Ulpadgama, Galkiriyagama. He was attacked while attempting to chase away a wild elephant that entered his plantain cultivation. According to the locals, wild elephants encroaching on their villages from the Kahalukanda and Namaluina reservations pose a threat to life and property. The Suryaveva village in Valikanda Polonnaruwa is another village that is constantly attacked by wild elephants. A herd of wild elephants that roamed into the village on Wednesday night caused significant damage to multiple houses. According to locals, these wild elephants are from the Somavati reservation. They also added that the wild elephants also destroyed a significant portion of their paddy harvest. On Wednesday, wildlife veterinarians started administering treatments to a wild elephant suffering from gunshot injury on its leg on the banks of the Badalgama River in Galgamua.
There are many villages in Sri Lanka that lack basic infrastructure, and yet there are students who pursue their education in the midst of all of those issues. Gamadda with the People provides answers and solutions to many of these issues to which authorities have turned a blind eye. On Thursday, Gamadda launched another worthy project.
The Silver Candy Tamil Vidyalaya in Ragala is located in the Valapane Education Zone in the Nuwara district. Around 500 students receive their primary education at this school from grade 5 to grade 11, and they are educated by 20 hard-working teachers. Unfortunately, the lack of proper sanitary facilities was a major issue faced by all those attending this school. In 2020, during the Gum at the Door-to-Door campaign, this issue was reported and the principal of the school also shared the details with Gum at the. On Thursday, Gum at the took the initiative to launch a sanitation project at the Silver Candy Tamil Vidyalaya in Ragala. In addition, from Vellavatta and Layantha Bandara from Jayala are financially supporting this project.
News first with the people.
The applications filed by several factions, including the Centre for Environmental Justice with the Supreme Court over the Express Pearl maritime disaster, was called up on Thursday.
The petitioners had earlier requested for the matter to be taken up in the presence of the full bench of the Supreme Court. As the Chief Justice had not given an order over the matter, it was postponed to the 10th of July, pending the order of the Chief Justice. Transparency International had moved for an intermediary application and the petitioners did not object to it. However, counsel appearing for the Express Pearl vessel and the companies involved objected to it.
Sri Lankan health officials report that there has been a significant rise in skin diseases reported in the country. During a media briefing organized by the Health Promotion Bureau, it was revealed that the use of unapproved cosmetics has led to this condition.
We have noticed a higher probability of skin cancer in Sri Lanka in recent days. We haven't found the exact factors for this so far, but there is an increase. The advice we can give is to only use products registered in Sri Lanka. According to the current law, no one can manufacture products that should be applied on the skin. They can only be produced with approval from the National Medicines Regulatory Authority.
ඒවා නිෂ්පාදනය කරන්න පුළුවන් එකම විදිය ඖෂධ නියාමක අධිකාරියේ අනුමැතිය ලැබෙන ඒවා විතරයි. ඉක්මනින් සුදු වෙන්න අපේ දැන් හුඟ දෙනෙක් දන්න දේ තමයි බැරලෝහ.
Most people use whitening cream laden with heavy metals. We conducted raids at places that manufacture whitening cream and studied the ingredients used. Usually, if there can be 1 milligram of lead in a kilogram, we found 27,000 milligrams per kilogram. If these creams are used on your body long term, the metal will enter the body through the skin and may lead to kidney failure or cancer. Because the act on cosmetics is still not operational, those conducting raids have faced issues. There are loopholes in the law and these products are mostly made by people powerful enough to get away with avoiding the law.
පනත රූපලාවන්‍ය පිළිබඳ පනත තවම බලාත්මක වෙලා නැති නිසා එතෙන්දී වැටලීම් කරන අයට සමහර වෙලාවට ගැටලු ඇති වෙලා තියෙනවා. ඇත්තටම නීතියේ යම් යම් සිදුරු තියෙනවා. ඒවයින් රිංගා යාමට තරම් බලවත් අය විසින් තමයි මේක හුඟක් වෙලාවට කරගෙන යන්නේ.
Medical Help International USA is expected to donate $46 million worth of medicine and medical equipment to Sri Lanka in July.
Sri Lanka will receive $46 million worth essential medicine and medical equipment from the Medical Help International USA in July. This was disclosed by Director of Operations and Communications of Medical Help Sri Lanka Global Project, Paddy Dissanayake, who called on Prime Minister Dinesh Gunawardena at the Temple Trees earlier this week. She said Medical Help International donates emergency medicines and other medicine supplies to help vulnerable people of the society in coordination with the government body of beneficiary country and international, corporate and individual donors. The Medical Help International has extended its support to Sri Lanka since April 2022, to date worth 78.3 billion rupees. It corresponds and coordinates with Sri Lanka's Ministry of Health, and while there are many categories of pharmaceutical drugs that are donated, a larger volume consisted of oncology, dialysis solutions, diabetic medicine, including insulin, to cover the huge medical shortage in the healthcare sector. Among these assistance, a 1,000 kilovolt ampere generator worth 42 million rupees granted to the Karapitiya Hospital is another huge contribution.
KOTIKA launched a $6.8 million modernization of National Plant Quarantine Service in Sri Lanka project this week.
KOTIKA Sri Lanka office is conducting a high-level invitational program in Korea with Gunadasa Samarasinghe, the Secretary to the Ministry of Agriculture, and 4 officers from the Ministry of Agriculture, Department of Agriculture and National Plant Quarantine Service. The project, Modernization of National Plant Quarantine Service in Sri Lanka, which granted $6.8 million, aims to enhance the export competitiveness of Sri Lankan agricultural products by improving plant quarantine capacity. The project, Modernization of National Plant Quarantine Service in Sri Lanka, which granted $6.8 million, aims to enhance the export competitiveness of Sri Lankan agricultural products by improving plant quarantine capacity. The main outputs of this project will be strengthening the plant quarantine capacity, establishing a seaport plant quarantine station, supporting value chain development for agricultural export and expansion of Sri Lanka good agriculture practice, and establishment of plant quarantine information management system.
According to Bloomberg, tourism and factory restarts temper Sri Lanka's economic contraction.
Bloomberg reported that Sri Lanka's economy likely shrank at a slow pace last quarter as a rebound in tourism and some industrial activity were the bright spots in a country grappling with still elevated borrowing costs and higher taxes. According to a median estimate of economists in a Bloomberg survey, the gross domestic product probably contracted 8.9% in 3 months to March from a year ago. That is better than a 12.4% contraction in the previous quarter, the most in 2 years. Inflation has cooled for 4 straight months as a result, giving the Monetary Authority the space to unexpectedly cut its benchmark rate in June for the first time since July 2020 to support the nation's recovery.
Sri Lanka's Met Department said that several spells of showers will occur in the western, Sabaragamuwa and northwestern provinces and in the Galle, Mathura, Kandy and Nuwara districts.
Strong winds of about 40 to 45 kilometers per hour can be expected at times in the western slopes of the Central Hills, North Central and Northwestern provinces and in the Hambantota and Trincomalee districts. The landslide early warning issued for several divisional secretariats in the Ceylon and Ratnapura districts remain in effect. The landslide early warning was issued to the Daraniyagala, Dehiyovita and Yatayanthora divisional secretariats in the Ceylon district. At the same time, landslide early warnings were also issued for the Alapatha, Ahaliyagoda, Ratnapura, Nivitigala and Kalawana divisional secretariats in the Ratnapura district.
More than 100,000 people in India and Pakistan have been evacuated from the path of a fierce cyclone a day before its expected landfall.
Forecasters have warned that Cyclone Viper Joy could destroy homes and crops. Viper Joy has been making its way across the Arabian Sea and is expected to first hit India's Gujarat state on Thursday evening local time. At least 7 people have already died amid heavy rains in India. Foreign media reported that the victims include 2 children crushed by a collapsing wall and a woman hit by a falling tree while riding a motorbike. In Pakistan, the storm is expected to strike the coast of Sindh province. Authorities have already evacuated 62,000 people from the southeastern coast and set up 75 relief camps at schools. Pakistan's climate change minister Sherry Rahman says Karachi, the province's largest city with a population of more than 20 million, was not under immediate threat, but emergency measures were being taken. Meteorologists said the very severe cyclonic storm was packing sustained winds with speeds up to 135 kilometers per hour and gusting up to 150 kilometers per hour. They have also warned high tides could inundate low-lying areas along the coasts. Authorities say trains in the Gujarat region have been suspended while the ports of Kandla and Mundra, 2 of the largest in India, have stopped operations. Fishing has been suspended along the Gujarat coast, while fishermen in Pakistan's coastal region have also been warned to stay off the water.
That's a wrap of the lunchtime news. Join us again at 9 p.m. for primetime news on TV1.